Grand Lodge video?
We're doing the Grand Lodge. Oh, the Grand Lodge, Grand Lodge. What to say about the Grand Lodge? It's a beast. 6 Emmons Road. How many of you browse Zillow or are on MLS notifications and you get so excited when you see a property in Crested Butte come up for under $200,000? I mean, same. And Dave, our cameraman's going like this. Yes, same. But I just want to let you know that there are some stipulations with owning units in the Grand Lodge. So let's talk about that. So if you don't know, the Grand Lodge is a building, essentially a hotel, right up at the base area of Mount Crested Butte. It's in a killer location. You've got the transit center right there. You're right next to the ski slopes. They've also got a sweet pool and hot tub and even an in-house restaurant. The Grand Lodge is what we call a condotel, meaning that all the units are individually owned, but there's a front desk and in-house management company. Guests check in just like they would at a hotel. The thing you need to know about condotels is that they are more difficult to finance than a regular condo or a single family home. In fact, many lenders won't or can't finance condotels because they sell their loans on the secondary market to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will not buy a condotel loan. These loans are what we call non-warrantable or non-qualified mortgages, so you have to find a lender that will actually do a condotel loan. They're out there, they exist, but they're more few and far between. So when you're looking at Grand Lodge units, make sure you have that conversation with your lender prior to getting too far into the process. So if your lender won't do condotel loans and you're working with a local realtor, like me, chances are we can recommend someone who does do them. The other thing you need to know about Grand Lodge units is that you can't live in them full time and you can't keep them vacant as a second home. They have to be available for short-term rentals, meaning by nature, they're investment properties. You will likely need to put 20, possibly even 25% down to purchase these properties using a loan. So talking about the usage restrictions, the Grand Lodge is actually made up of 2 separate towers with 2 separate HOAs, and they each have slightly different usage restrictions for owners. For both towers, owners cannot stay in their property more than 29 days in a row, and they also can't use their property more than 50% of the time that the lifts are running. So this is usually from like mid-June to late September and Thanksgiving to early April. The Grand Lodge East has an additional stipulation that owners cannot stay in their unit more than 60 days in a calendar year. This is all fine and good if you're looking for an income-producing property, but if you're looking for your primary residence or a place that you want to use mostly as a second home, this is not the building for you. Lastly, I just want to touch on property management for these units. So Vail Resorts actually manages the HOA for the Grand Lodge, but you don't have to use them as your property manager for your specific unit. This has some benefits because Vail has a notoriously high rental split. On the flip side, they do offer a full service, set it and forget it type arrangement. So if you're looking for something like that, they could be a good option. One other thing to note about Vail as a property manager is that they do what we call rent equalization. So your unit basically goes into a lottery and they try and rent everyone's unit the same amount of nights in a year. So the nice thing about the Grand Lodge is that you do have the option to use a different property manager who may have a lower split than Vail. They also are only going to be focused on renting your unit and getting your unit rented the most nights possible. You don't have that rent equalization like you do with Vail. This could result in possibly more cash flow for you, but the flip side is that your guests are gonna have a little bit different experience, meaning they can't use the front desk. So they do check in there, but then if they check into your unit and they need toilet paper or other linens, they can't call the front desk for that. They have to call your own property manager, more like a traditional Airbnb. So the Grand Lodge, lots of pros and cons, right? Pros, killer location, great pool and hot tub, low price point. Cons, it's a little bit complicated. So I know I joked about this a little bit at the beginning, but I do just want to re-emphasize why, especially in the case of the Grand Lodge, it is really important to work with a local real estate agent who knows the rules and regulations and the ins and outs and the nuances of this building that's a little more complicated than a normal condo or a single family home.